Hi guys, so in my previous video, I talked about a real life lady who is cool and radiant, and she also looks amazing in light, cool, and clear colors. And this lady gave me permission to use her photos in my videos, so let's leave a comment down below and say thank you to her. And also, you guys know I offer color consults through my website, and your photos are always private unless you tell me I can share them. So if you still don't know your best colors, you can check that out, and I will leave a link to my consults down below. So in my last video, I gave a little bit of a hint about this video, and it was that Lupita and our cool and radiant lady both have the same exact best colors. So I want to talk about how this works out in my system. As you guys already know, I am all about the skin undertone, and I think the skin undertone determines not only whether you wear warm or cool colors, but also if you wear bright or muted colors. So the skin undertone lines on a spectrum, and you can see that on the far left are the cool and radiant undertones who look amazing in cool and bright colors, and then when we move closer to neutral, still cool, but more cool and delicate undertones, and they look amazing in cool and muted colors. And then when we cross over the neutral line into warm, we have warm and delicate who look amazing in warm and muted colors. And finally, when we have a lot of warm dominance to the skin, a lot of yellow dominance to the skin, we have warm and radiant, and these people look amazing in warm and bright colors. So we're not talking about the features, we are only talking about the undertone itself. So this is the lady that I gave in my previous video as an example, and you can see that she is cool and radiant, and her initial photo is on the left. She chose a bright pink lipstick, and that looks amazing on her, and that is because she has a cool and radiant undertone. And on the right, when I altered the photo and I made her lipstick a little bit more muted but still cool, you can see that the bright one on the left looks a lot better on her. So this is really someone who looks amazing in cool and bright colors. And in the same way, her original cool and bright sweater on the left really lights up her face and makes her look so much more radiant than the altered sweater that I altered on the right to be a bit more gray. So another hint that her skin undertone itself is cool and radiant. And this example specifically is very relevant for this video because this is one of her absolute best colors, icy pink. And it's one of her best colors. She looks absolutely amazing there because, first of all, it matches her skin's undertone, which is cool. It matches her skin's chroma, which is bright, but it also matches her contrast levels, her value, the best value, darkness or lightness of the color. And in her case, she looks amazing in lighter colors because she is a low contrast and light person. You can see when we make that photo black and white, you can see on the right, it looks very harmonious there. And on the left, you might not be able to say exactly why it looks so harmonious, but you know it does. And you might not be able to put your finger on it, but a part of why it looks so harmonious is also because the value, the lightness or darkness of her jacket is just right as well. So she looks amazing in these cool, bright, and light colors. So we're talking about light cool green, we're talking about light blues, light purples, icy pinks, optic white. Those all look amazing on her. And it's all because of her cool and radiant undertone that these bright colors look good on her, not because of her features or because of her hair. And you can see that if we were to use the seasonal approach, we would type her as a summer of some kind, and we would put her in a bit more of a muted color like on the right because of her low contrast levels. But I personally prefer her in the bright and radiant icy pink color. I think it just lights up her face and looks amazing. Okay, so we talked about contrast level and how it doesn't determine chroma, but it does determine the value. So now we can compare our cool and radiant lady here and Lupita, and how is it possible that they would have the same best colors? So now I want to share with you how I personally determine someone's best colors. So the warmth or coolness of the skin comes first, and that's the first determining factor. And a close second factor is the chroma of the skin itself. So is the skin undertone bright or muted? Is it radiant or delicate? So both the chroma and the hue of the best colors come from the skin undertone, which is really very different from the traditional seasonal approach. And the way that I think about contrast is the value or the lightness or darkness of the color and how it relates to the contrast of the features versus the skin. And that is the third priority. And finally, the fourth priority is sort of the exceptions, the artistic license, if you will. And I call my system artistic license because I want for people to be able to understand their coloring and also make some executive decisions on some of the guidelines that they may want to break, some of the guidelines that they may want to incorporate based on what they want to prioritize on a given day. Luckily, Lupita and our Cool and Radiant lady, they don't really have any obvious exceptions to the first three steps, so we can really focus on the first three factors of determining their best colors, and they will already look absolutely amazing. So let's get into talking about Lupita. So I think Lupita is cool and radiant, and you can see that if we compare a warm color on the left, a tomato red versus magenta, a cool color, you can see that the warm color, even though she is radiant, it kind of fights against her skin. When you look away and you look back, you don't know whether you want to look at her skin or look at the color, and also her skin looks a little bit less radiant and less harmonious with the color than it does with the magenta. If you look at the image of her against the magenta, her glow of her skin really comes into focus, and the magenta is not distracting from her at all. Now that we know that she is cool, let's compare cool and delicate, more of a slate gray, a muted blue type of a color, to a royal blue. And you can see how her skin just looks so much more radiant and magnificent against that bright, clear chroma blue on the right than it does against the more muted blue on the left. So I think she is cool and radiant. So that was step one and step two. In step one, we determined that she was cool, and in step two, we just determined that she is radiant. And both of these were based only on her skin undertone. Now let's talk about her features. So she is a high contrast person because her skin is a very deep color, and at the same time, the whites of her teeth and the whites of her eyes really add a high level of contrast to her overall coloring. So I would say that she looks much better in optic white than she does in pure black, and both of these are cool and radiant colors, so you can see that they equally bring out the cool and radiant glow of her skin. They both look amazing against her skin, but the optic white looks very harmonious against the dynamic, high contrast coloring of her face. The same can be said for both of these colors. They're both cool and radiant, both cool, both pretty clear chroma and bright, and they both look amazing against her skin, and they both look very glowy against her skin and very harmonious. But I think that she would look even better in the light purple because that light color against her deeper skin mimics the high contrast level of her features against her skin. So it's going to create an overall very harmonious look for her. And of course, you can see she looks absolutely amazing in some lighter colors. She looks amazing in optic white on the right there, and on the left in a little bit of a lighter clear chroma blue that also looks wonderful on her. I love these two images as well. You can see that on the left, that is a little bit of a light blue dress, but it is very bright, and at the same time, she also has some pretty sparkly earrings on and a light white headband, and that ties in her lighter features as well, the whites of her eyes and her white teeth, and it just looks so amazing on her. On the left, that looks so harmonious. Her skin is glowing, and she just looks so wonderful. And on the right, it's the same story. That little bit of a lighter, cool, clear chroma green with some lighter detailing, like with the headband and with the sparkly earrings, that really brings out her radiant glow, and she looks absolutely stunning there too. So her best colors are light, cool, and radiant. And if we review how we found this, we found her chroma, her best chroma, and her best hue from her skin undertone. So her skin undertone is cool, and her skin undertone is also bright, so she looks good in bright, cool colors. So that's step 1 and 2. And then when we look at her contrast level is high because of her whites of her eyes and her white teeth against her deeper skin tone. And so because her contrast level is high, but her skin is deep, we want to have the opposite value of her skin. So if her skin is deep and dark, we want to have light colors against her skin to mimic that high contrast. So then we get that she looks the best in light colors. So putting it all together, she looks good in bright, cool, and light colors. When we look at our cool and radiant lady, who at first glance may be looking completely different in terms of color analysis, we find that she actually has the same exact best colors as Lupita. So you can see that again, her skin undertone is cool and it's also bright and radiant, so she looks good in bright, cool colors. And step 3 is the contrast level. So in this case, her contrast level is low, but her skin depth is also light. So for someone with a low contrast level, we want to have the same depth of color as the skin to mimic that low contrast level in the features versus the skin and the overall look. So she also looks good in light colors. So in total, we have the same result for her as well, bright, cool, and light colors. So both of these ladies' best colors are those light, cool greens, light, clear blues, light, clear purples, light, clear pinks, optic white. Those are amazing colors for these ladies. Undertone, it's going to make their skin glow. It's going to bring out their natural coloring and look harmonious overall, while also making their skin look amazing. So these two ladies look amazing in these colors. And of course, these are not the only colors they could ever wear in their entire lives. This is more about their absolute best colors. And they can always use complementary colors to bring in some warmer colors into their look. And these are some examples that I pulled for their complementary colors. And what they could do is they could incorporate the cooler color next to their face to bring that radiant glow to their face. And then they could wear the warmer color, the complement of the cooler color, away from the face. And that would tie the whole look together and look harmonious because they're complementary colors. It could add more variety to the colors that they could wear and still look amazing, and at the same time maintain their radiant glow. So I will leave a link down below to that color harmony calculator that I used to calculate the complementary colors. And most of the time, complementary colors are one is cool and one is warm. So if you're warm, you can wear the warmer colors near your face, and if you're cool, you can wear the cooler colors near your face and still incorporate a pretty good variety of different colors into your wardrobe. And you can see that they both look amazing with some optic white right near their face, but for some similar and some different reasons. So they both look amazing in optic white, of course, because it is a cool and radiant color. And secondly, the different reason is that the lady on the left looks amazing in optic white because it gives her a low contrast look with her coloring. And Lupita on the right looks amazing in optic white because it gives her a high contrast look with her coloring. And that looks wonderful on her. And you can see that Lupita is also wearing that dress, maybe has some warm cream color there, but laying right against her skin is that optic white neckline, and that's why it looks so wonderful on her. So I think she looks amazing there overall. And of course, our cool and radiant lady looks absolutely glowing on the left as well. So that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will leave a link down below to my consult if you are still confused about your coloring, and I will talk to you next time. Leave comments and questions down below, video requests, etc. And thank you for watching.